You want to hear a story about my childhood in California, do you? Well, pull up a chair, dear. Let me take you back to the summer of 1956. I was just a little girl then, growing up in a sleepy town just outside of Los Angeles. Life was different back then. Slower, simpler. But oh, the adventures we had. There was a grove of orange trees just past my backyard, stretching as far as the eye could see. The scent of citrus filled the air, especially in the evenings when the sun dipped below the horizon. My best friend Susie and I would sneak out just before dinner, barefoot and giggling, racing between the trees like wild creatures. Our little feet would crunch over fallen leaves and twigs, and we'd pluck the ripest oranges straight from the branches, peeling them with our fingers and letting the sticky juice dribble down our chins. One evening we decided to go further into the grove than ever before. We had heard the older kids whispering about a hidden shack deep in the orchard, a place where something mysterious had happened years ago. Some said it was an old caretaker's house, abandoned after a terrible accident. Others claimed it was a hideout for drifters. Susie, ever the brave one, dared me to go find it with her. The deeper we ventured, the quieter it became. The rustling leaves, the distant sound of our mothers calling for us. Everything faded until all we could hear was our own breath. Then we saw it. A small wooden shack, its paint peeling, its windows dark and empty. My heart pounded, but Susie grabbed my hand and pulled me forward. "Let's just peek inside," she whispered. We crept to the door, which hung slightly ajar, and pushed it open. The air inside was musty, filled with the scent of damp wood and something else. Something old. There was an old rocking chair in the corner, a dusty table, and shelves lined with glass jars filled with strange, murky liquids. But what caught my eye was a single photograph, curled at the edges, sitting on the table. It was of two little girls no older than us, standing right in front of that very shack. One of them looked exactly like me. The other, well, she looked just like Susie. We ran. I don't even remember how we made it back through the orchard, but we burst into my backyard, panting and wide-eyed. That night, neither of us spoke about what we had seen. In fact, we never went back there again. Years later, long after Susie had moved away, I asked my mother about the shack. She frowned, confused. "What shack?" she asked. "There was never a shack in that orchard. And yet I still have that photograph tucked away in an old wooden box. Two little girls standing in front of a place that, as far as anyone else is concerned, never existed."